Hi, it's Adam from Reality Manifestation, and within this video, I'm going to be going through how to rewire your brain by creating habits that last. You're likely already familiar with what a habit is, but just to give a quick, clear definition now, habit is basically something that we do on a repetitive basis. This isn't only our physical actions, but this can also include our habits of emotion, what we focus on, the type of tonality in which we speak in. Now, in order to change your habit, and for those of you who have seen my previous videos or familiar with a pattern, it's pretty much the same thing. So now I'm going to go through a step-by-step process to change your habit, with the first step being clearly identifying what the habit is that you're wanting to change and why you want to change it. And then also, what are you getting from this habit that you're currently wanting to change? Because everything we do, even if it's on a subconscious level, is meeting some of our needs, or maybe even all of our needs in some way. And in order to change your habit permanently, replacing it with a more empowering action, which I'll cover more in later steps, it's important to identify what needs the current habit is meeting. Because if you don't replace the habit with a new action or habit that meets these needs, you'll very likely either revert back to the same behaviour or pattern, or replace it with something else, which could be equally as disempowering or having a negative impact on your life. And what I mean by needs is a model that's been created by Tony Robbins, which is the 6 human needs. So I'm just going to go over them briefly now, but for anyone who wants to know about these needs in more detail, I've already done a video on these needs, which I'll leave in the description box down below. So the first need that we all have is a need for certainty. So we need to feel certain, knowing that we can either avoid pain or gain pleasure, as it's a survival instinct. So basically, to meet this need, it's anything that reassures us that's going to give us some form of pleasure or keep us safe, is a simplified way of explaining it. As I'm explaining these needs, write down the habit that you're wanting to change and make a note whether you think that this habit is meeting these needs, as it will really help in the following steps. So going on to the second need, which is a need for variety, which within our nervous system, it doesn't like to stay the same, it likes to vary. It's important to have different varieties of stimulus and experiences. We'll literally sabotage ourselves and can even inflict pain, which has been proven by studies, just to meet this need, because our nervous system craves it so much. So in this context, are you getting variety from this habit that you're wanting to change? So an example of a disempowering habit and a disempowering way of meeting this need for variety is, are you causing arguments and fights with your partner just to get some variety in your life? Now going on to the third need is a need for significance. We all have a need to feel important, needed, special, unique. These are all just different ways of saying the same thing, of basically needing to feel important, is what this need for significance is all about. So write down, is this habit you're wanting to change making you feel important, unique, significant in any way? Now the fourth need is a need for loving connection. So we all have a need to feel connected and sharing love with people, and this isn't necessarily in a sexual way either, which sometimes people think that's the only way of meeting this need. Isn't another way of explaining it is like sharing a formal bond with people, even as like a kind of friendship, even just having a conversation where you feel like you're connecting with someone. So an example of meeting this need within this context, do you have a habit of meeting up with your friends and overeating or eating out and eating unhealthily? And do you find as you're doing this activity, you're bonding and connecting with your friends and loved ones? So again, write this down. So these first 4 needs I've just gone through, or the needs of the psyche will always find a way of meeting these needs no matter what. But the next two I'm about to go through are the needs of the spirit, and in order to feel fulfilled, these are the two needs that we need to meet, with the first one being the need for growth. So no matter how successful someone is, in order to feel fulfilled, they need to feel like they're growing and still developing. If someone stops growing, they're going to become unfulfilled, no matter how much they've already achieved or obtained within their life. And the sixth and final need is a need for contribution, basically giving beyond ourselves, doing something that serves and helps others that's outside of just meeting our own needs. In order to feel fulfilled, these two final needs of growth and contribution need to be met. So again, write down, is this habit you're wanting to change meeting these needs, and which needs is it meeting? So if you followed along, it will make it much easier in the following steps to understand why it may have been so difficult to break or change this habit within the first place, by now understanding what needs it has been meeting. Now, once you've identified the habit and got clear what needs it has been meeting, the next step number 2 you want to move on to, is to associate pain to the current action, behaviour, the habit that you're wanting to change. In order for any change to occur, you initially need to associate pain to that behaviour, because then your brain will actively get you to move away from that behaviour rather than trying to pull you towards it. So there's a variety of ways in which you can do this, but one simple and effective way is by asking yourself questions and getting clear, being honest with yourself, which can be difficult, is what effect and impact is this current action and behaviour having on your life, and what will happen as a byproduct or result of continuing this habit. And it's important to not downplay the language you're using to describe it. So say for example, if someone is wanting to lose weight and they have a habit of overeating, and one of the drives for wanting to lose weight is to feel confident, feel sexier, rather than just going, oh, I might not attract a partner, I might not be able to fit into this dress, I might not look too great. You want to go along the lines of, I'll look like a disgusting pig, I'll never be loved. You really want to say and use harsh language that really gets you to associate pain. You don't want to be easy on yourself as you're doing this. Use strong language, and use stronger language than what I'm actually using within this video, but I'm wanting to keep it somewhat YouTube friendly. Again, the reason I'm saying to be so harsh and use such strong language is because the more pain you associate to this habit, the more powerfully your brain will pull yourself away from actually engaging in that behaviour again. So rather than trying to battle with yourself to stop doing this behaviour, your subconscious mind will become your ally and actually try and pull you away from it without you consciously having to try and fight yourself. To also help you associate pain to this current habit that you're wanting to change is by visualizing yourself in the future never changing this habit, and the effect and the result it's had on your life as a consequence of not changing this habit. And again, the more vividly and more you feel the pain associated to this habit, the easier it will become to break it and to replace the habit. Now, once you've associated pain to this habit, you want to move on to step 3, which is to break the pattern. I'm not going to go into breaking patterns fully in detail within this video, as it will be a very long video, but just to give you an idea, can you recall a time when you was deeply in a conversation with someone and you was fully focused within it, then all of a sudden someone came and asked you a random question? Then after the person who asked the question went, you could no longer remember what you was discussing, even though you was deeply involved and focused within it. So this is an example of your pattern being broken. So anytime you feel the pattern, the emotions, or the feeling of a pull that makes you want to engage in the habit that you're wanting to change. You want to break the pattern, because if you do this enough times powerfully enough, you'll eventually break the pattern that your brain is looping that makes you want to engage in that pattern, the habit, within the first place. Again, I'll leave a video in the description box below that goes through how to do this in more detail. But to give you a brief description now, is whenever you go into the pattern that makes you want to engage in the habit, you want to do something that radically changes your state, so basically how you're feeling within that moment. So you could do this by radically changing your physiology, so how you're moving your body, what you're focusing on, what meaning are you attaching to the situation. So you can ask yourself questions to change this, such as, what could I be grateful for right now, or what else could this mean? And also changing the pattern of language and the tonality that you're using. And the more unexpected the pattern break that you're using, something unexpected such as being made jump, for an example, the more powerful the pattern break will be. Once you've broken the pattern, you want to move on to step 4, which is creating an empowering alternative. And if you followed the steps before and had written down what needs the previous habit was meeting, this is now important for this step, as you want to find a way and associate a way of the new empowering habit behaviour you're wanting to replace the old one with, that it meets these needs, or otherwise you'll find yourself reverting back to the old habit or behaviour. So to give a quick example, someone could have a habit of overspending because it meets the need for certainty, because it makes them feel like they're in control and they're getting pleasure from overspending and they're in control of what they're purchasing. And this is the way in which they deal with the stresses throughout the day, whether it's work or whatever it is that's causing stress, discomfort and pain within their lives. So another habit they could replace this with to meet this need for certainty could be even setting a goal or getting clear with a vision of where they want to go with their life, and maybe even exercising or eating healthy in a certain way, or taking back control over something within their life that makes them feel certain. So for example, if someone's religious, getting closer to God, they feel more in control and more secure and certain now they've improved and strengthened their connection with God or the divine or the universe or whatever label or what you believe in based on your belief system. And then to condition it to make this a new habit, you basically want to do the opposite of earlier and make this new, more empowering habit. You want to associate it with pleasure. So you want to ask yourself questions such as, what positive impact will taking part in this new habit have on my life, or what areas will it benefit? And you can also visualize yourself within the future, visualizing the impact it's had or already living as this habit is something that you take part and do on a regular basis. So to quickly recap these steps, you want to 1. Identify the habit and what needs that it's meeting. And then 2. You want to associate pain to the habit or behaviour. Then 3. You want to break the pattern. And then 4. You want to replace it with a new, more empowering habit which meets the needs that the habit you're wanting to change was previously meeting. I hope you found this video useful. If you could like, and if you haven't already, if you could subscribe, as this will let us know what kind of videos you'd like us to make more of. And also if you could comment down below on what you found useful and any habits you're going to change. And also share this with anyone who you know who's got a habit that they're wanting to change but they've been finding difficult that you think would benefit from listening to this video. I hope you find this video useful and I shall see you soon.